Welcome to your weekly crypto download, where we cut through the noise and get straight to what matters. And this week, wow, we've got a potent mix of money, rules, and some serious tech updates all converging at once.
So let's start with a really simple question. Out of everything happening, what's the one thing, the one number, that's truly going to move the needle for markets this week? Well, it all comes down to the Federal Reserve. Yep, the entire market is pretty much holding its breath for one thing: their decision on interest rates.
Now look, the calendar is definitely packed. We've got job openings on Tuesday, jobless claims on Thursday, a bond auction. All this stuff gives us a feel for the health of the economy, for sure.
But let's be real. This week, all of that is just background noise. The market has its eyes glued on one single event happening this Wednesday. Everything else is secondary.
So what are the odds? Well, the market is betting big. We're talking an almost 90% chance that the Fed is going to cut interest rates. And why do you care? It's simple, really. Rate cuts mean cheaper money, and cheaper money tends to send investors looking for higher returns, pushing them into riskier assets, like crypto.
But wait, there's more. The real cherry on top is the rumor that the Fed might also kick off what's called a balance sheet expansion. Now, that's just some fancy Wall Street talk. What it really means is the Fed is about to start pumping a whole lot of cash directly into the economy. And when that happens, all that new money has to go somewhere, and you can bet a good chunk of it will find its way into crypto.
Okay, so that's the money. Let's switch gears and talk about the long-term game: regulation. I know, it sounds kind of dry, but you have to pay attention to this, because it's the key to unlocking the next wave of adoption.
Right now in the US, there are two huge bills making their way through the system. First up is the Market Structure Bill. Think of this as the one that gives the big institutions, the pension funds, the endowments, the clear rulebook they've been waiting for. And then you've got the Innovation Exemption, which is basically a legal sandbox for new projects, letting them build and test new ideas without getting crushed by regulations right out of the gate.
So these changes aren't coming tomorrow, they're penciled in for 2026. But here's the takeaway: the wheels are finally turning. Any forward progress, any step at all towards regulatory clarity is massively bullish for the entire industry.
Okay, so we've got the money and the rules lining up. Let's round it out with the tech, because this week, everyone is watching the Solana Breakpoint conference for what could be some absolutely gigantic announcements.
So what's on the docket? Well, first we're expecting a big update on Firedancer. That's the software that's supposed to finally put Solana's pesky downtime issues to bed for good. Then there's the Alpenglow upgrade, which is all about speed. And this is where it gets crazy. The rumor is that Solana's new performance goal is to be as fast, or maybe even faster, than the Nasdaq Stock Exchange.
Just let that number sink in for a second. We are talking about a potential capacity of over 500,000 transactions every single second. That's just a staggering number. It's not just an upgrade, it puts Solana into a whole different universe of performance.
All right, let's connect the dots here. You've got cheaper money coming down the pipe from the Fed, you have clearer rules of the road on the horizon from regulators, and you have a massive technological leap forward from one of the biggest names in the space.
So it all leaves us with one final big question. With these three massive forces, money, rules, and tech, all starting to point in the same positive direction, you got to ask yourself, what's the next barrier to fall? That's the big story we'll be watching. Thanks for tuning in.